没上厕所呢，这拿下来，我给你拿着去。
对 Max.
Oh.
So that's how you guys. I was just gonna say, you got yours last, and somehow yours is like almost not. You were a champion. Yeah. And in my class, when we got ice cream, I was the last one to get it, and I still was one of the first ones to get it.
你拍点照片吧，我这 YouTube 直播呢，我就直接不拍视频了，都用 YouTube 直播。
我拿手机拍照片啊。
你拍几张这个照片？
零毛了。
那帮人能排队呢。票没在咱们这儿呢。啊，等嗨了回来吧。
在这儿，你看，还是在这边排那么一圈。这都是排着的。
要不要去厕所？我们现在在萨省的一个距离瑞加纳省会大概100多公里的一个小镇，这个奥基玛，这个离 Kville 天鹅农场距离也是几十公里的样子。今天我们来体验这个原始的这个蒸汽火车，看这是司机，然后今天游客非常多，都在我们的月台上等待开车。 那个遥控都没拿出来呀、跟那个车长照的。这小子挺好的，这小子。拿你电话给你拍一张这个，来一张，给你姥姥拍过去。
这拍这。
300多呢吧？越来越多的新鲜出来了。这个东西我看过一段也该到了。
咱们最后上面，就在门口等。我们上后边去排队吧。对，排队。来，过来排队来。
Okay, can I get you guys to all move in so you can hear me?
在这等着，他让你听着他。
来排队。哦，对，呀，对。
Can you hear me back there? Okay. This is about as loud. Yes, I had to do 3 of these yesterday. So I'm losing my voice. First off, I'm going to tell you, I see everybody holding on to their ticket. Put it away. We punch it on the way back. So if you don't have a ticket though on the way back, we find the most desolate place to dump you off. Okay, so the second car here, the end car, is a bar car. No kids allowed. Okay? Bar car. Allowed in the truck car, yeah. about it for the rules. We're not very. Carol will come up with a few more before we leave. I'm not from Ogama. I'm a ringer. They bring me in from Lucia because I'm a licensed conductor. As soon as this train leaves the outskirts of Ogama, it's a federal regulated system. Have to be a conductor, have to be an engineer. So we're not from here, but I want to tell you, when you come back and you wander in downtown getting ice cream or barbecue or whatever, you see somebody from Ogama, thank them very much for what they've done for Saskatchewan. This gem here in the middle of brings people from all around the world. 2 years ago, we didn't run last year because of COVID. 2 years ago, we had a guy fly from New York to Minot, rent a car, drive up, ride the train, rent his car, go back to Minot, go back on the plane, and go back to New York, and back. Just to ride this train. And we get, as I said, we get people, we get a couple of weeks, we get people from Florida, we get people every month that, not, some of them don't necessarily come to Canada to ride the train, but they make sure they get on the train while they're in Canada. So, thank the people of Ogama. It's the people of Ogama that did this. There's no grants that I know of. I'm not sure. I don't think there's any grants from the government or anything. People of Ogama did this themselves. So, if you see them, thank them. Okay, we're a mask-free place. I see some masks. That's great. No problem. But we are mask-free. You don't have to wear a mask. And I think that's about it. See if I can find a little. Do you know what a conductor says when it's time to get on the train? No, you know. Anybody? Do you know what a conductor says? He said, if you don't have a ticket, then when you get that in.
He's Mr. Trainer.
Okay. I'll say it loud. All aboard! There you go.
票得分一下，他最后再打票。有个票你得一个人拿，要不然最后打票才是。
分一下票吧，是吧？David。
找。你为什么带我包下来？拿包吗？拿包。对啊，没有水那里没有水吧？啊？没有水袋。对啊。对啊，那边大一点，这样。
8
上面啊。
98的就很有很多的位。
这有那个什么的，
我不要，
自动的，去买一个。
我不要。
带，我要带一个吧。买瓶水。嗨。行吧，好。你不喝？
没所谓呀。
我其实也是可喝可不喝，你就备着要。
只要孩子。
对。正好没有人了，拍一下这个。给我拍一下。 坐后面呗，后面他们都在后面的吧。不是都在那儿坐呢？啊，小孩儿。那坐这儿，这有窗户这边。这边有窗户。这边有窗户。那个能开开。哎呦。
哪个窗户都能打开。
那个不行，那俩打不了。不行。啊，可以。那我单独做一个去，你把东西放这儿。不是。给你电话。
So before we get going here, just a few housekeeping things. My name is Carol. This is Dale, our conductor, and Byron is our engineer today, and James at the back there is our summer staff. So there is a washroom on board here. It's like an RV washroom. It's behind the door there. James will show you where it is. Yep. Thanks, Vanna. And if we holler emergency, just stay seated till we find out what it is. We haven't had to use it yet, but it's a protocol to tell you that. Also, too, these windows are 1922 passenger car windows. They're very heavy. Don't stick your arm out the window because they come down and they come down really heavy. And I don't have enough band-aids to put your finger back on. Also, as we pull out from the station, let's make everybody wave because that's what they used to do in the 1920s. They would wave to the people that came down to see who got on, who got off. See who got mail, who got groceries, who got lumber. It was the main thing in the town. So as we go down the line, we will explain different places out to you. We will also ask that if you see any wildlife that you point it out so everybody else can see it. We have seen coyotes, fox, antelope, deer, and what else? A bunch of birds. Cows don't count. Oh yeah, the coyotes. We saw 3 coyotes yesterday. Anyways, we're going to offer drinks to you. The beer is $5, water is $2, and coffee is $2. So we'll come through with that first. The government tells us that it takes 45 minutes to drink the beer, and that's how long it takes to get to Horizon. I drink warm beer and cold coffee. So as we go down the line, you'll hear the engine tooting the horn because he has to let everybody know that we're coming to a public crossway, and he has to let them know that we're coming, and we have the right of way, and we're bigger than they are. There's quite a bit of smoke today, so some of the things further away we won't be able to see very good. But we'll point them out. On the left-hand side there's a John Deere going through the field. There's harvesting is going on right now. You'll see a lot of combines in the area today. What they grow around here is sweet crops of canola, peas, and lentils. You can see that most of the haying has been done. They've rolled up the hay already. Some of it's been hauled, but not very much. We had a drought. We haven't had much rain for the last 4 weeks. We had a little bit the other day, a half inch, but it disappeared almost as soon as it hit the ground. It was so dry. We also have pockets of grasshoppers, and I know the one young fellow, as he was out spraying for grasshoppers, he noticed that he lost a couple hundred acres of field to gophers. So there's lots of gophers. The RM of Weyburn actually put a bounty on gopher tails. You can get $5 for 2 gopher tails. You just take them into the RM office. So that's way better than picking cans out of the ditch. On the left-hand side, in the smoke there, you can kind of see a big hill there. That's a Big Butte. And what they tell me is that it is a moraine. And it's the way it is formed is the Ice Age came, stopped there, and receded, and left a big hill of soil, till, rocks, and dirt. Came again, stopped in the same place, and receded again, so that there is 2 layers of the dirt there. There's also a spring on each side of the Big Butte. And the First Nations people knew that it was the good water was there, and they could see the Big Butte from any direction and for miles and miles around, so they would head there for water. Also, too, in the 20s, when the Ku Klux Klan was coming through to on their membership drive, they burnt a cross up on top of the butte there, and you could still see the charred remains at the top. They wasn't the blacks against the whites, so it was the Roman Catholics against the Protestants and the liberals against the conservatives. It's really hot today, not quite as hot as yesterday, but if anybody gets too hot, I do have cold claws here that you can put on the back of your neck, so if you want one, you can just stick your hand up and ask for one and I'll get you one. Question. How fast do you think we're going? And we have to do it in miles per hour because this is a 1945 4400 and a 1922 car. We need to go miles per hour. Where do you think we're going? 7, 22, 28. What do you think? 10, sitting along at 10 miles an hour. 15, that's closer. We're going 18. We can go faster. We're allowed to go 25 on this rail, but as you notice, we're rocking, and we'd really be rocking right along there. And I wouldn't be able to stand up, so we just go 18. That's about the fastest. It's the most comfortable. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, you're going too slow," but you know, it's nice to stay on the track. the right-hand side there, all those little mounds, those are gopher hills, those are gopher mounds. So in 1911 is when CPR came through and got as far as where the town of Ogama is now in December 1911. And the people that were living there at that time wanted to call the town Ogama or Omega because it was at the end of the line. But somebody else had already picked that name, and so they changed the G and the M around and they call it Ogama, which is Cree and Ojibwe for big chief. So in 1912, they continued on to Assiniboia building the track. This track was called the Wainer to Lethbridge track. If you see the little signs on the right-hand side, they're white signs with numbers on them. Those are vinyl markers, and so if you say mile 105, that's 105 miles by track to Weyburn. So that's how they keep track of where different things are that need to be fixed. So in up until the late 1920s, this was a passenger car, freight car, and hauled grain as well. In the late 20s, they stopped doing passengers and just did freight and grain. And then in 1955 or so, they stopped using steam engines and went to diesel. Then in the 60s, they quit doing freight altogether because freight could be hauled cheaper by the highway and with semi-trucks. So they went to that, so it was grain only. In the early 1990s, they abandoned this line, and they were no longer going to haul grain on it, and so they started doing the lineup. So they ripped it from Weyburn to just outside of Penguin before a group of 5 farmers and 150 shareholders bought the line. So there's 117 kilometers of line from just outside of Penguin to just outside of the Assiniboine. There's 7 working elevators still on this line, and they load producer cars, and they are farmer owned. The one in Ogama is actually owned by a group of 20 farmers. So with the 150 shareholders, they called it the Red Coat Road and Rail. And the reason they called it that is because we run parallel to Highway 13, which is also called the Red Coat Trail. And it's called the Red Coat Trail because the Northwest Mounted Police, when they rode from Manitoba to Fort Walsh, they were wearing their red serge, and so they called it the Red Coat Trail. If you look on any of the tourism maps, it's marked as such. So that's the Red Coat Trail, and this is the Red Coat Road and Rail. So they are hauling producer cars along the line, and the farmers could order their own cars and get them filled up and hauled out, and they would save about $1,200 a car for sending them that way. Once we saw that the community saw that it was a community-owned rail line, we decided to move their train station back to Ogama. We didn't have our original train station, but there was one just like it in Simpson. And the reason we tore down the train stations was because we're no longer using them for freight or passengers, so there was no use for the train stations. So they had to be moved off or torn down. Ours was partially moved off and part of it was torn down. So they didn't want to pay taxes on something they weren't using, so they had to have a load. So we found the train station up at Simpson. It had been moved off of the CPR lands in Simpson onto Walter Clyde's farm. And he said as long as we traded grain storage, we could have the train station. So we talked to Professor Kundiak, and he gave us one 5,000 hopper bottom bushel bin at his cost, and the other one he gave it to us for free. So we took a group of 20 people up to Simpson and set up the 2 hopper bottom bins, and then we started moving the train to Ogama. We cut it in the same place that Walter had cut it when he had moved it onto his farm. And we went through the Capel Valley and brought it to Ogama. It cost $6,000 to get Sass College to lift the lines to get the train station through. In November of 2003, the train station was in Ogama, and we started the restoration. The restoration was finished by 2005 in July, which was Saskatchewan's 100th anniversary, and also Ogama's homecoming. We had the full restoration done and the grounds all beautified. So we had a train station and we had a rail line. We started looking for a train. We found the engine in North Conway, New Hampshire. It was a 1945 44 tonner by GE Electric. It has the original CAT engines in it right now. There's 2 engines, 190 horsepower each, and it's a push-pull engine. It was used as a yard engine. It doesn't look like it's going backwards ever, and so it worked perfect for us. It was in fairly decent condition, just needed to be repainted and needed some new batteries. The passenger car was a 1922 Pullman, and we found it in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. It wasn't in this good a shape because it had been sitting for a long time and it hadn't been used. The upper windows here were covered with black tar and black paint, so one of the volunteers measured the window and went home and made all the things. And when he brought them back, he realized each one was a little bit different size, so he had to rejig them all. The volunteers drove from Ogama to Assiniboia to work on the crane and try and get it smashed done and fixed.